Hey everybody, Livingston here. Today we're jumping into another fun-filled episode of the Twilight Zone. This time it is Season 3, Episode 29, 4 o'clock, came out April 6, 1962, and another episode I haven't seen before. But before we get started, let's jump into your comments for last week's episode, The Little People. Mokari77 says, astronauts are such jerks on the Twilight Zone. Well, I gotta agree with you there. There are a lot of jerks in the Twilight Zone when it pertains to astronauts. A lot of astronauts were pilots back then, and pilots were looked up at with a lot of notoriety back in those early days. You can see that in, like, Catch Me If You Can, when you had Frank Abagnale Jr. walking around in the airport, Leonardo DiCaprio movie, if you haven't watched it, and he was just looked at in such awe because that was like the pinnacle of society, where pilots were flying these massive things in the air. And back then it's only like 40-50 years old, so air travel was still fairly new in a lot of people's eyes, especially the older generation, where they were in the generation before where they didn't have air travel. So now it's looked at like, yeah, it's a common thing. Everyone wears their slippers onto the airlines, and they don't care what they look like. Back then they were dressing to the nines. Just crazy how things have changed. But yeah, astronauts were such jerks back then, since they were pilots. Jen Retzberg 7968 says, the Twilight Zone episode itself is not that good and memorable, but influential. The Simpsons loosely based a Halloween segment on it, where Lisa finds little people under a petri dish, and Bart destroys like a god and devil dichotomy, and she also observes how they evolve through ages and society accelerated. That version is the inspiration for other stuff more than the Twilight Zone version. And Love, Death, and Robots is an episode where a couple has little people going through the ages of society inside their fridge. Just this year's season of Black Mirror had an episode with little people behind the computer screen. I haven't seen the episode of Black Mirror. I need to watch more of Black Mirror. I've only seen a few episodes, but those few episodes I've really enjoyed. I do vaguely remember that episode you're talking about in The Simpsons, and I have watched the one with Love, Death, and Robots. Seems to be a common thing in a lot of shows that don't have a story thread going through it, where it's just one story after another, like the Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, Tales from the Crypt, things like that. But definitely enjoy the episodes when I come across them. I believe Star Trek Voyager did the same thing, where Voyager got stuck in the orbit of this planet where they were able to look down on it, and it was accelerating at a very fast pace. I think Enterprise or Star Trek The Next Generation did the same thing. They sent Data down, and he was able to live like 3 or 4 years in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes on the ship, but it was, that time down on the planet. So it's definitely a common trope in a lot of television shows, especially ones that I've seen when I was growing up. Name's Hubby says, not particularly memorable. We know what happens to power mad people in the Twilight Zone. Just another Rod Serling's near understandably pathological hatred of totalitarianism, fascism, and a power run amok. Joe Morose does a good job of portraying a man becoming slowly unhinged, and Claude Atkins was one of those rare actors who could play both good guy and bad guy well, but again, not a particularly standout episode. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not a standout episode, but I thought the actors did a good job with the material they had. Jonathan Stein says, I really love the poetic justice of this particularly ending, with him being crushed by the giants the way he was crushing the little people. Yeah, for sure. I definitely enjoyed that. I even had a little chuckle about that when it happened, and I was like, oh man, the hubris of it all. Kindle Square says, I have never seen this episode before. It was a good episode. I don't know why he wants to stay there with no food or water. The ending was surprising. The two giant astronauts treating him like he was a bug or something. Yeah, I mean, it's how we treat a lot of things ourselves when we see a cockroach, a spider, an ant. We are like that. We just pick it up, and if we accidentally squish it, it's like, oh man, I'm sorry, and we don't think anything of it. It's not a life. But heck, if you watch movies like of course, like It's a Bug's Life, or watch that movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where it makes you really feel for an ant. Every time I watch it, I don't kill an ant for a long period of time until they bite. Jack Dorsey says, reminds me of a dictator and the inn gets overthrown. Very true. They've done it a few times in the Twilight Zone. This was just more of a science fiction fantasy level. Well, thanks for the comments, everybody. Very much appreciate it. Let's jump into the episode, but before we do that, let me remind you to stick around for the end of the episode, where I will give my review as well as some trivia to go along with how this episode came to be. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue on this voyage to episode 156 of The Twilight Zone. Now, let's jump into the episode and see what we're getting into.
The Twilight Zone.
Hello, is this Mr. O'Connor? You have a man working for you in personnel. Man's a communist.
Oh, no.
A subversive, a menace to our society, should be discharged immediately. Never mind how I know. I just know, that's all. Has not been discharged. I'm going to take this whole matter to a superior. That's correct. Bye, Mr. O'Connor.
Some thick glasses. Satisfaction of a pencil being sharpened by one of those pencil sharpeners when I was in school. Nothing quite like it.
School superintendent, please. Well, this is a concerned citizen, and this call has to do with a teacher in your employ. His name is Farwell. He's a drinker, a carouser, and I have it on good authority that his relationships with the students are questionable at best. He should be discharged immediately. And these facts are what is at issue. Well, you best check on him.
So he's telling on everybody.
That's correct.
No bueno. This guy's gonna get his comeuppance just like everyone else does in the Twilight Zone. Damn, he's got a list.
11 names. 11 names.
Tattletale.
The seeds have been planted. The opening guns fired. And I have to face it sooner or later, Pete. Expedience. Oh, no, Pete, my old friend. We're going to have to embark on a much more ambitious course. 4 o'clock, Pete. That's when we'll make it occur. We'll make it occur at 4 o'clock. At that moment, that precise moment, we shall destroy evil.
Title of the episode, 4 o'clock.
I'm not quite sure of the method yet, but that will come to me. 4 o'clock, Pete. Whatever form I choose. 4 o'clock.
Rod.
And we are about to watch the metamorphosis of a twisted fanatic. And wherever you are, it happens to be the Twilight Zone.
No. 4 o'clock.
There's special delivery stuff for you, Mr. Krangle.
You don't say.
Something else, was there, Mrs. Williams?
Something else? Somebody think you was running some sort of a mail order business or something.
Have you any more pertinent remarks to throw out in the air? You should, Mrs. Williams. You may thank me one day. Assuming you're around.
And what's that supposed to mean? Are you threatening me, Mr. Krangle?
Maybe. You might end up on my list.
Investigate them. Then I categorize them. If they're impure and evil, they must be punished.
Jeez.
And I point out to them the right way.
You'd be in heaven if he was living in today's society. You can go online. Probably would be broke by spending money on just trying to figure out people's backgrounds.
All rested up, are you, Pete? Had your little nap? That's good, my young man.
4 o'clock. What's going to happen at 4 o'clock?
What's going to happen indeed? At 4 o'clock, we're going to expose evil. Exorcise it, denude it, destroy it!
Dear God.
I'm looking for Mr. Krangle.
Well, who are you? Better not speak to him. You're going to end up on his list.
You can go in there without police protection. That man's got a leak in his attic a mile wide.
Or maybe she'll change him. Or maybe she's something that's going to make him pay for being as prejudiced as he is. I don't know where this is leading yet.
Mr. Krangle? Mr. Krangle?
Hello.
Kurt J. Lucas, age 27, intern, Eastside Hospital.
That's my husband.
Well, now, your husband, you say. Come in.
Is he somebody that was on his list?
Why, Mr. Krangle? Why are you trying to hurt him? What has he ever done to you?
There is nothing personally.
He's a stranger then to you, isn't he? He's a perfect stranger.
A stranger, yes. And when you observe that he has done nothing to me, let me hasten to illuminate you on this.
He has only one abiding interest in life, and that is to heal.
And to kill! That's his other abiding interest.
Somebody he cared for?
Lucas, Kurt J. M.D. He permitted the death of one Mrs. Angela Rienti by failing to relieve pressure accumulated as a result of a brain injury sustained in a traffic accident.
He was taking care of half a ward that night, and by the time he got to the woman, she was already dead.
So you admit you basically turned this guy in as a communist because of somebody dying on his watch.
You're not even a medical man. You don't know a thing about it.
Discharged your husband yet? I've been expecting it momentarily.
They have not.
I will not put up with evil in any form. Communist harlots! I will absolutely not countenance evil.
What point do you become the evil that you're fighting against?
You're probably unaware of it, Mr. Krangle, but my husband is a very sensitive man. Mr. Krangle, why? Why do you do it? Why?
Explain yourself.
Why? Because they're evil. There's nothing complicated about that. That's precisely
That's what I'll do. Do you understand? Little people? That's what I'll do. I'll turn all the evil people into little ones.
Hal, this guy's nuts.
2 feet tall.
Does he have this power? I've yet to see it.
4 o'clock, every evil man and woman will be exactly 2 feet tall.
What's going to happen at 4 o'clock? That's the actual question. Commercial. I never liked marking my books.
Not created equal.
They're not?
Come in.
How'd you know?
Come in. I'm Oliver Krangle. I'm the one who called.
And who's this guy?
My name is Hall, Mr. Krangle, Federal Bureau of Investigation.
I'm hoping this turns on him.
I called you here because I felt that the FBI should know. It's my understanding that the Reds are in complete control in Washington now.
Oh, no.
And it's a complete conspiracy, you know. All the evil people of the world have banded together.
Pretty sure this all happened like in the 50s, not much the 60s.
I have spent many years doing this kind of work. I listen to the radio. I watch television. I write letters to employers.
Yeah, it was the 40s and 50s, so this is kind of like aftermath. Just like, remember when we went through that crap about 5-10 years ago? This guy's still stuck in it.
With these people, it's absolutely necessary. It is now 3:27. In exactly 33 minutes, all the evil people in the world will become third their present size.
What? How? You know, they never really explain how he's going to do this. Or he's just that crazy. He just believes it.
What do you think of it, Mr. Hall?
Mr. Krangle, how do you go about doing it?
That's my next question.
I merely will it. Several other methods had occurred to me, so I had it in mind that I might take the stiffness out of airplane propellers, props hanging limp, that I might change all the wheels in the world from round to square, so they'd stub in the asphalt and stop. This idea just occurred to me about the change in size. Turn all the evil people into 2 feet tall.
Wow.
Think of how inefficient this would make them.
But how are you going? Just the will, your pure will is going to make everybody evil in the world 2 feet tall. Guy's mad. This is like 2 episodes in a row now where we've come across a mad person.
Have you ever had any psychiatric help?
Why?
Mr. Krangle, you don't seem rational to me. I think you've developed some kind of obsession here. I think you need some help.
You should probably get out more. I'll say he disappears at 4 o'clock, or he turns 2 feet tall.
What are you going to do about it?
Nothing, Mr. Krangle, not a thing. Mr. Krangle, we have something in this country which makes all of this stuff quite unnecessary.
What's that?
It's a law, Mr. Krangle. We have the law.
Yeah, well, you were crossing out.
Oh, I get it now.
You're all in on it.
I understand perfectly. Of course you people have gotten into the FBI. You've infiltrated every place. You better enjoy yourself for the next 15 or 20 minutes. You better enjoy yourself to the utmost. 2 feet tall, Mr. Hall. That's what you're going to be.
Doubtful. Very odd episode, I gotta say. Probably one of the weirdest ones. You're evil too. Keep your yapping.
Step on us. 4 o'clock.
You evil! Evil!
Okay, get to 4 o'clock already. I want to see what's actually going to happen. Still got 25 minutes left. I don't know if we're going to make it to 4 o'clock. We're almost to the end of the episode. Oh, we're there. We got there with a fade.
It's happening right now. All the evil ones, they're all turning into tiny little gnomes.
Huh?
This is kind of a celebration.
I knew it.
At 4 o'clock, an evil man made his... A pot called a kettle black, a stone thrower broke the windows of his glass house. You look for this one under F for fanatic,
Kind of saw that
and
coming.
J for just in the Twilight Zone.
Well, that was episode 29. Very interesting episode. Not my favorite one. I kind of saw what was coming. Maybe the last 10 minutes of the show. 4 o'clock, it was always in there. We're going to turn people small at 4 o'clock, and it seems like the opposite has been happening in this season. And, of course, I knew something bad was going to happen because he was the guy that was just mean throughout the entire episode. There was no validation to his argument about people being the way they were and him calling them evil and saying everybody's going to turn small. And he just thought Will was going to make everybody small. Turns out his will made him small. And yeah, definitely an episode that wasn't the greatest. Probably one of my least favorite episodes of the Twilight Zone, I would say. It was just kind of random in my perspective of it. Let me know, comment below what you thought of episode 29, 4 o'clock of the Twilight Zone. Would like to hear your thoughts. Now let's jump into some trivia and see what it took to get this episode off the ground. The original story by Price Day was first published in the April of 1958 issue of Alfred Hitchcock's Mystery Magazine. It came to Rod Serling's attention when it was included in the hardcover anthology Alfred Hitchcock Presents My Favorites in Suspense, Random House 1959. In his prologue, Rod Serling refers to the decision to take action as Oliver Krangel's personal Gotterdammerung. The German phrase Gotterdammerung, translation of Old Norse Ragnarok, is a Norse myth about a war among various beings and gods that ultimately result in the burning, immersion in water, and renewal of the world. Theodore Bickle was a human and civil rights activist who ardently opposed blacklisting and McCarthyism during the 1950s. The books that Oliver Krangle randomly picks up and pretends to carefully read while avoiding Mrs. Lucas questions are the September 1961 edition of the Official Airline Guide, OAG, North American Flight Guide, and U.S. Army Technical Manual TM9-372, which described the M290mm anti-aircraft cannon. Well, that's it for this episode. Let me know, comment below what you thought of it. Until next time, see you later.